Good morning, everybody. Hopefully you had a wonderful weekend. We sure did up in the Midwest. So last week's 5Q tape breakdown was 1 minute, shows a common misstep. Can you identify it? So it's nice to learn from other people's mistakes because then we don't have to repeat them. That's the beauty of this. So make sure, it's not a huge commitment. It's about 10 minutes to listen to these breakdowns. It's a great way to keep your skills high. I wanted to talk about this. This is in the ARP, October-November 2020 issue of ARP. Gene Chatsky. Guys, is Gene Chatsky a respected financial journalist? For those of you that follow, especially the consumer. Yeah, that's right, John. She's very respected. So she actually was talking about and promoting home equity conversion mortgages, ACMs. So I just want to, since it's one of our tools that we use, whether you use it or not, it's one of the tools we use to get people to make appointments with us. It's one of the tools we use for our USP, so we should be fluent on it. So I thought we'd do a 5-minute quick update on this so that as you're talking to clients, you'll be able to know the basics. So the basics is for a reverse mortgage, they're called home equity conversion mortgages, available to anybody 62 and up. There's no obligation to repay as long as you live in your home, and you can get loans either in a lump sum, or you can get loans turned into an annuity or monthly payments, or you can get a line of credit. So let's see how many of you guys know how we use it. Which one do we use? Which one of those three do we recommend for our USP? Very good, Nick. Very good, Tom. You should all know this. I've only got 2 right answers. Which one of the three? Which one of the three? Well, this is good that we're talking about this then. Guys, first of all, what's our USP that we use this for? Let's see how many people can answer that. What's the USP we use this for? You guys must be slow with the fingers today. Very good. Got a couple of good answers. Yeah. It's a way for us to give our clients 25% or more income without changing a single one of their assets. And the way we do that is with the HECM, using it as a line of credit. When do we use it as a line of credit? When would we tap into that line of credit? When markets are down. Very good, guys, when markets are down. So loan reputation sullied, and this is the other thing Gene says, the reputation of reverse mortgage has been sullied by reports of borrowers misled about risks and consequences. So let's talk about the 7 basic questions people have. Is this, first of all, before you do this, you should answer this to yourself. Is this our forever home? If not, you're just better off selling it or downsizing, whatever it may be. You don't want to do this. The home equity or reverse mortgage is best for people who plan on staying in their homes. But how many people do plan on staying in their homes? Those of you that have been working with seniors, how many of them plan on staying in their homes? Yeah, most do, exactly. How much can you borrow? Well, there's a great, if you're ever wondering this or a client's ever wondering, there's a great site called myhecm.com. It has a calculator. It's free. It'll tell you exactly how much you can borrow based on your property value, your age, etc. Because obviously the older you are and the more equity you have, the more you can borrow. So that's a great resource to have, myhecm.com, and there's a calculator there to allow you to calculate that. So how much will it cost? Well, mortgage insurance is generally 2% of appraised value, and you must have mortgage insurance when you have an HECM. The closing costs are likely to be almost exactly the same as a traditional mortgage. So before, they used to gouge people on these reverse mortgages. Now they don't. It's going to be very similar to a traditional mortgage. And lenders' as with a regular loan, the lender's origination fees are negotiable. For example, Gene Chatsky ran a reverse mortgage for a consumer, and for the exact same consumer, the origination fees varied all the way from $2,000 to $6,000. So does it pay to shop around for this? Yes, it does. So where will the money go? Well, if you're going to use a reverse mortgage, we know, again, what we use it for is to use it for income during down markets when there's a down market. But never, ever, ever let a client take a reverse mortgage unless they have a plan. Because if they don't have a plan, what can happen? If they take a reverse mortgage and they don't have a plan, what can happen? Yeah, disaster. A disaster can happen. Trouble, exactly. So can you afford the other costs? So before you take a reverse mortgage, you have to say, can I afford the other costs? Can you afford to pay taxes on your property? Can you afford to pay the insurance on your properties? Can you afford to pay the HOA fees on your property? Can you afford the upkeep? Hopefully the clients we work with, this is not going to be a problem because, again, we're not taking this as a last resort, right? Because when we looked at do you remember when we looked at these, when do most advisors use the HECM? As part of a plan or as last resort? Very good, Tom, as last resort. So our clients are not going to be taking, shouldn't have a problem with these things because they're not using the reverse mortgage just to pay their bills. They're having that line of credit there in case the market goes down that they can pull from there instead of from the equity portion. Who's borrowing? If you're married and only one of you borrows, it can get dicey. You don't want to be involved in anything like that. What happens when you're gone? Well, your lender gets the money back plus interest. So this is the interest that HECMs are at now. So again, reverse mortgages got a bad rap of having unbelievably expensive mortgage rates. Are these unbelievably expensive mortgage rates? Or are they somewhat similar, a little bit higher, but somewhat similar to regular mortgage rates? So it is a good, now how many of our clients are going to do this? We have no clue. But when our USP is 25% more income without moving assets, you better be familiar with this. You better be able to show them how it can work. Does that make sense? And again, we show you exactly how to do this. If you go to the agreement meeting, under scripts, you see the goals, and then there's the method. Click method, and here's the coaching call that I went in depth on exactly how they work, why you can get 25 to almost 100% more income. 25% to almost 100% more income by using this technique appropriately. So if you haven't looked at that, you're not familiar with it, it seems, based on some of the answers you're getting, some of you would do well to spend 50 minutes going back and watching that again. Make sense? Cool. This is a risky business fed. Elon Musk sound the alarm bells in financial markets. Did anybody watch Elon Musk on SNL or the repeat or the recording? Well, he joked about Dogecoin because there's a big whoop-de-doo about whether he was going to talk about Dogecoin or not, and he did. And when he did, he described it as a hustle. The value of the cryptocurrency plummeted by a third in one night because of that. And it was created as a joke. Dogecoin was created as a joke and has a market capitalization of $80 billion or $101 billion. I'm sorry, $80 billion. That's actually in, I think, UK. So guys, that's the kind of, what does that say about the markets we're in right now? Stable, well considered, or irrational at this point? You know, we've even got now fungibles. Did you see that all these fungibles, like these memes and stuff that are selling for $500,000, $2.4 million, $5 million, and they're just memes. And memes are essentially the same as what? Beanie Babies. Do you remember the Beanie Baby bubble? And here's the funny thing about the Beanie Baby bubble. Guess what was also a bubble at the time of the Beanie Baby bubble? Say that 3 times fast. The Beanie Baby bubble wasn't during bad times. It was during the late 90s, during the market uptick. Because here's what they found. It isn't, however, unique that within cryptocurrency market valued at roughly $2.4 trillion, given that these digital currencies have no intrinsic value, and even most prominent, like Bitcoin, are very limited mediums of exchange. They're essentially vehicles for financial speculation. So are they investment or are they speculation? Just like Beanie Babies, are they investments or speculation? Something similar, however, could be said about the financial markets more generally. The financial asset value is stretched by historical standards beyond anything that could be justified by underlying physical assets, cash flows, or prospects. The U.S. market share, for instance, is trading at nearly 22 times prospective earnings compared with its average over the past decade of 15. It can only be, so guys, that's what? That's almost 50% higher. And are we saying back in the old days in the 1920s, or we're saying in the last decade? So that's as modern as you can get, and it's trading way over the top. There is an alternative basis given how low interest, and people are buying this because they say, well, what else am I supposed to do? I mean, interest rates are so low. The only place I have is stocks. Is that a good way to invest? Are stocks the same as guaranteed, a guaranteed place? The Federal Reserve Board, most influential of the central banks, have driven interest rates down to or below zero with unconventional monetary policy since 2008 financial crisis. This appears to be starting to take the threat posed by the inflated financial assets, increased leverage in parts of the financial system that the ultra-low rates have generated more seriously than it has in the past. In the latest of its biannual financial stability reports issued last week, the Fed said that the high asset valuations relative to interest rates and the income flows generated by different types of assets suggest that investors require less compensation for the risks they're taking. Guys, investors now are requiring less compensation, less return for the risks they're taking. How dangerous is that, guys? Especially if you're 20, not dangerous. 30, not dangerous. 40, not really dangerous. But in your 60s and your 70s, how dangerous is that? I want everybody to say B for big or S for small. Yeah, they're extremely. Asset prices, the Fed said, could be vulnerable to significant decline should investor risk appetites fall. Progress on the COVID-19 disappoint, U.S. economic recovery stall. What could cause the next hiccup? Remember, we said it doesn't even need to be bad, right? About half of all crashes go down on not bad news, but good news, just not as good a news as we thought, like unemployment not being quite as good as we thought it was going to be, or new jobs not being quite as good as we thought. And guys, what just happened last week that should be a shot over the bow? And I've been talking about this for over a decade. What happened last week that should be a shot over the bow of how bad things can get and how quickly? COVID took 3 or 4 months to cause problems. Something happened last week that caused problems very quickly for a big chunk of the U.S. What was that? That's right, Tom. The pipeline. And guys, do you think this is the only pipeline that has been compromised? Do you think this is the only utility that's been compromised? It's not. Then what's happening with Russia? What's Russia doing right now? What's China doing right now with its neighbors? Russia is pushing at all of its neighbors. China is pushing at all of its neighbors. See, we don't know what is going to cause the next stock market crash. It could be terrorist activities, change of government, it could be war, scams, just like we saw with Colonial, bubble burst, trade. We don't know what's going to cause the next, but what is the fire danger right now? High or low? It's high. So again, that's why I know I keep harping on this, but guys, I'm human too. I'm human as much as anybody is. And even though I know all this intellectually, emotionally, I always have the feeling that right now, with things that are the way they're going, intellectually I know, Jesus, it's dangerous. Yeah, fear of missing out. That's right. Fear of missing out. So the reason I keep harping on this every week or every other week or every 3 weeks is because it's very easy to get sucked back into that emotional, oh my God, I'm missing out on the returns. Oh my God, I'm missing out on the market. I'm not missing out on the market because 50% of my money's in the market and 50% of my money's in fixed index annuities. But still, I always think what? Oh, I might be missing out. So that's why I keep putting out these things over and over and over. So let's talk about how we can email like a boss. More importantly, how we can get people who've ghosted us to get back to us, or people that referrals to get them to reach out to us, etc. So email like a boss. So I took a while, but you can deal. Sorry for the delay. Thanks for your patience. So don't say sorry for your delay. So let's say that you were to promise somebody something and it took a long time for you to get back to them, longer than it should have. Don't say sorry for the delay. Instead, say thanks for your patience. So why would you want to do that? Well, this is rewarding them. This is kind of like aping them. It's empowering them. Thanks for your patience. You're a great person. This is saying you're a bad person. This is saying they're a good person. This is saying you're a bad person. Which one do I want to do? I want to say you're a good person. My schedule matters too. When somebody when you're trying to set up an appointment, just say what works best for you, because you're saying what? I got a completely clear calendar, so we can meet anytime you want. Instead, you're going to give them, hey, can you do next Wednesday or can you do next Thursday? See the difference there? Yeah, you're welcome. No problem, no worries. We've talked about this a couple of times in the past years. You never want to say no problem, no worries, because you just told them how much effort on your part. If you did something for them and they thank you and you say no problem, no worries, what does it say about the effort you took? No effort. Instead, you want to say, hey, I'm always here to help. You're important to me. I'm always willing to help. So don't just say no. Everything we do takes effort. So let them know it took effort, but because that you value them, you're happy to do it for them. Not because it was effortless. Yeah, that's it. Not because it was effortless for you, but because you were willing to take the effort to help them. I know what I'm doing. You don't want to say, I think maybe we should. Instead, you want to say, it'd be best. This is what? Qualifying language. This is black and white. This is gray. When you're ranking your recommendation to somebody, do you want to be black and white or do you want to be gray? You want to be black and white. Wording this is hard. Rewriting an email for 40 minutes? No. It'd be easier to discuss this in person. Sometimes, guys, emails are, how easy is it to express emotions in an email? And how not very. And how easily could an email be taken out of context? Very. So if you've got anything that could cause any emotions whatsoever, call them. Call them. Hopefully that makes sense. No. Let me know if you have questions. This is like washing my hands of you. Hey, hope that makes sense. Don't bother me anymore. This is saying, hey, bother me. You got questions. I'm here to help. So do you see, guys, are these, looking at these and not really thinking about them, they sound exactly the same, don't they? But when you think about them, hopefully that makes sense. Is it welcoming additional questions, or is it kind of basically saying, you know what, don't bother me anymore. I've answered your question. Hope that makes sense. Now leave me alone. I know that's not what you're saying, but do you see how that could be taken that way versus, hey, let me know if you have questions, because that's an open door. Yeah, words are important. Words mean things. That's right. Where the heck are we on this? Hey, just wanted to check in. Worst thing you can ever write in an email. Worst thing you can ever say in a voicemail. Never say, just wanted to check in. Instead, when can I expect an update? That's good. Or you want to, or if you're reaching out to somebody in an email or a voicemail, you just want to check in. Don't just check in. Leave something of value. So this is, when can I expect an update from a vendor? Like if you're calling ECA, just when can I expect this money to hit, or when will the contract be issued? That's it. But with a client, you're never going to say when can I expect an update. Instead, with a client, you're generally going to be saying, why haven't you gotten back to me? Just want to check in. No, you want to say, hey, I had an idea for you. I thought I would run by it, or I have a gift for you, or I have something I want to get in your hands because I think it'll help you. You want to leave them with something of value there. I made a small error. Hey, guys, we all make errors. Sorry, my bad. Totally missed that. No. That's saying I'm bad. Again, we're back to I'm bad, you're good, right here. I'm bad. No, we don't want to do that. We want to say you're good. Nice catch. Updated file attached. Thanks for letting me know. See, don't want to say I'm bad. You want to say you're good. You're aping them. I have an appointment. Could I possibly leave early? No, I'll need to leave for blank at blank or blank. Because what you're doing, you're being specific. Specificity leads to trust. Make sense? Now, subject lines. How big should your subject line be? You can see the sweet spot for subject lines is 7 words. You want that thing to get open? 7 words is the sweet spot. Again, 6 words, 7 words, that's a sweet spot. Too few? Not as good. So does that make sense? Email subject line. Here's some ones that you can see the character count. You want to be right around 40 characters. What can work can wait? These sales are that good. 41. Make a meatless loaf even meat lovers will love. So you see how these are nice and short? And then look at this one. 5 SEO trends, right? Mobile, blah, blah, blah. Which one of these is more likely to get somebody to click on the email? Make sense? So here's some things. I always make sure the first line is about them. So this is like to a referral or to somebody you're reaching out to first time. You don't want to say, you don't know me, we've never met, or I have something you might find interesting. We don't want to say those things. Instead, we want to say, hey, I noticed the article about you in the paper. Hey, I just saw your post on Nextdoor. Hey, have you ever thought of blankety blank? That's a good way to get them to what? Pay attention. Why? Because everybody likes something, wants to know about you, or wants something about, or wants to be noticed themselves. They want to be noticed themselves. So you want to empower them. Empower them, empower them, empower them. When you empower them, it enhances their feelings, it enables their feelings towards you, and it engages them. So you want to be empowering people. I always explain why you're reaching out, and you should be doing that by providing value. Hey, if you go back to some of these, hey, I noticed your article in the paper. I see your expertise is in blah, blah, blah. I thought you might find this interesting. So I said, I thought you might find this interesting, but I said it after or before I noticed your article in the paper. You can say these things after you talk about them. Can't say them before. Make sense? I always include a call to action. So when you email somebody, don't just leave it hanging out there. Make a call to action. Now, you want to strike a balance between polite and confident. You want to say, hey, I know you're busy. Hey, it would mean a lot to me. I know you're pressed for time. Again, is that are you coming from a position of power, or are you being the kind of the kick dog with these? You're being that kick dog. Instead, you want to say, hey, I know your time is important. To prevent the annoyance of a phone tag, a short conversation will quickly determine whether this would help or not. See how I'm saying, hey, your time, I'm not saying their time's not important. I acknowledge right up front it's important, but then do you see how I piggyback on? Your time's important. So to prevent the annoyance of phone tag, because I know their time's important, we want to avoid phone tag. Let's just get a short conversation to quickly determine whether this could help you or not. Do you see how this is more powerful than something like that? Then you just want to say thanks and get off. Don't go on and on an email. So this is I found this article. I'm going to leave the link to the article here, and I think Tricia has already put it into. It will be in the repeat of the video. But this is a great article to bookmark on your computer. So when you have to write an email, it's how to write a follow-up email after you get no response when somebody ghosts you. So a study from Ecosystem saw an 18% response rate to the first email they sent, 13% to the fourth. The sixth email received a massive 27% response. So what does that say about, you should only email somebody once, or you should continue to email them? Persistence, persistence, persistence. Now, the thing about this is when you're emailing them, at least every other one should provide, you should give them some sort of what? At least every other one you want to give them some sort of what? Tom's got it. Who else can tell me? Some sort of what? Nick's got it. John, Ron, very good, guys. You want to get, well, call to action, absolutely, but you also want to have value. So every single one, you're right, should have a call to action. So those, many of you said call to action, you're right. Every single one should have a call to action. But to make sure they don't get sick of us emailing them, we want to make sure that when we're sending, at least everyone has some sort of value. They're like, well, I don't mind that Mike's emailing me, because every time he emails me, he gives me something, something that I can actually use, a little idea, a little handout, a little checklist. He's always giving me something I can use. Make sense? A similar study from Yesware saw a 30% response rate to the first email, 14 to the fourth. And they actually sent 10 emails in total, and even the last one got a 7% response rate. So yes, sometimes the response rate goes up. This must have been a really good email they sent here, right? This one that the sixth email must have been really good because they saw a good response rate. But even when you're sending the same type of email, you're still getting a response rate. It just goes what? Now, should you send them every day, every day, every day? No. You want to space these out, like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So you want to make, you don't want to just hammer them, because then they will ghost you. Despite this, yesterday reports that a colossal 70% of email chains stop after just one unanswered email. Don't want to do that. Oops. 92% of people give up after hearing no 4 times. Why does that matter? It means that only 8% of salespeople who's following up at least 5 times generating 80% of all sales. So 8% of salespeople are generating 80% of all sales. Why? Because they follow up, because 80% of sales comes after the 4. Furthermore, other studies reveal that email drip series with 4 to 7 messages delivers 3 times more responses than with just 1 to 3. In fact, even following up just once can convert 22% more replies. Guys, how many of us would be happy with a 22% increase in our business? So, need some tips? Here's how to write a follow-up email after getting no response. How long should it be? How to automate your follow-up response, diversify your channels, decide what you want to achieve, put yourself in their shoes, how to write a follow-up email, sales follow-up tips, email templates, expert tips. So let's just look at these. How long should you wait until you follow up? What they recommend, and you can see here, days from, these are how long it took for people to open your email, okay? So in this case, 90% in both of these, 90% of people open your email right away. But that means what percent didn't open it right away? 10%. Some open it, 3%, or 2 or 3% open it the next day. 2 or 3% open, or 1.5 to 2% open it the second day, third day, fourth day. So, sometimes people wait to open your emails. And we found that here at 5Q. So how long should you wait to follow up? Follow up the first day. So how long should you wait before following up? While there are no hard, fast rules on how you should approach this, Close.io CEO Stelly FD proposes spacing your follow-up emails like this. First day, 3 days, 7 days, then a week, then 2 weeks, and then a month after that. So that's a good follow-up. And again, we're going to give you this link here, guys. This has unbelievable information if somebody's ghosting you that you really want. And guys, how much does it cost to send an email? Nothing. So when somebody ghosts you, don't give up on them. Keep at them. Put yourself in their shoes. Think about now, here's the thing. Here's what they suggest. But rules are made to be what? Rules are made to be what? Broken. Yes. So after they say this would be the ideal follow-up, the next thing they say is, but put yourself in their shoes. Think about the frequency and activity of your follow-up emails. Forget for the moment about what the experts say, what you should or should not do, and look at it only from the customer's point of view. Too much is annoying. Too little loses momentum. Find the right balance for your targets. Is everybody the same? No. So the more you know about clients or prospects, the more you can kind of customize it to them. Ask yourself, what's in it for them? Again, that's where it comes into if we can provide value. That's the right, you want to be doing that. How are they feeling? What sort of experience are they having? Do I have a reason to follow up other than just to follow up? How many of you remember if somebody's in the 21-point checklist process and then ghosts us, what's the reason they probably ghosted us? Yeah, we didn't do this. We muffed up in the system. We didn't follow the scripts well enough. We didn't do the 20-point checklist good enough. But essentially, if we didn't do it good enough, then why did they decide to break contact with us? What are they afraid of? If you do a 21-point checklist and we didn't do it well, and then they quit talking to us, why did they quit talking to us? Because they didn't want all the stuff we gave them, or why did they? Yes. They were afraid that they didn't want to move their money. They didn't want to move their money. So putting myself in their shoes, I'm thinking, you know what? I don't want to move money to this guy. I'm talking as the client to myself. I'm thinking, putting myself in the client's shoes, and they're thinking, I don't want to move my money. I'm not comfortable moving my money yet. I want all those things, but I don't want to move my money. So knowing that, what's in it for them? How are they feeling? Pressured? What sort of experience are they having? Pressure, a pressure cooker. Do I have a reason for follow-up? Yes, I do have a reason for follow-up. So my contact to them via email, my contact to them via voicemail is this. It's like, hey, I'm just trying to reach out to you again. I haven't heard from you the last couple of times I've reached out to you, so I'm thinking that maybe you decided you don't want to move forward with the money. That's okay. You don't have to move forward with money. You worked long and hard to save up that great nest egg that you have. So if you're not comfortable moving the money, don't move the money. But can we at least get together and take care of that power of attorney that we saw that won't work with Social Security and won't work with Medicare? And the reason you don't need to move the money, but once I've disclosed that to a client, I'm ethically obligated to make sure you at least get that taken care of. So forget about the money, leave it where it's at, give me a call. We'll at least take care of that power of attorney for you. And then that way I can kind of check it off my list and know that we've shaken hands, left as friends, and we can both move on. What did I keep mentioning over and over and over in that either via email or voicemail? What did I keep mentioning over and over and over to them? I'm assuming some of you are typing. What did I keep mentioning over? Don't move it, Bob, right. Don't move the money. Don't have to move the money. Don't have to move the money. Don't have to move the money. Because I know the only reason they're not talking to me is because they don't want to move the money. But they do want to get those other things fixed. And here's the funny thing. They'll call you. At least 50 to 70% of people will call you to get that power of attorney fixed. And the funny thing is, when they come in, I'm going to fix that power of attorney for them. And then what I will do is I'll say, hey, what about that medical directive? Do you want to get that fixed too? So I'll get that. So I'll fix one thing at a time for them. And do I bring up the money or do I just fix those problems for them? One at a time. I just fix the problems. That's right. And these 100% of the times, I would say 90% of the time after I fix the first thing, and the other 10% after I fix the second thing, guess what they ask or what they bring up? Then they bring up the money and they give me an excuse on why they don't want to move the money. Once I know why they don't want to move the money, guess what I can do? Overcome that objection. Does that make sense? So you got to put yourself in their shoes in order to get them to respond to you. All follow-ups are not created equal. In terms of your approach, all follow-ups are not created equal, so let the situation set the tone. If they've requested a call or demo, you can be more aggressive to fulfill their need. If they really want something, you can be a little bit more aggressive. Say, hey, I thought you wanted this. I thought you wanted this. If they've downloaded something, they have shown interest but not explicitly asked to be contacted. So these are for leads, right? We use this information for leads. So they've got to demonstrate your value. You have to give them value. You'll never make a mistake if you give people value every time you contact them. If you're sending a cold email, you got to tread very lightly because you don't want them to basically blacklist you and you can never get through to them again. Diversifier channels. This is so huge. Explore an omni-channel approach that includes email, video, social media, telephone, especially if you're getting no response from them. So guys, that's why we want that's why if you look at our leads, if you do the lead program, how do you follow up with them? You send a boom video email. You send a text. You send a letter. You send a postcard. You leave a voicemail. Companies do you do just one of them or you do all of those guys? One or all? All of them. And the one which one do you think works the best for leads? Which one of those do you think works best for leads of the omni-channel I just gave you there? Video, Tom says. Any other ideas? Sorry, Tom. Let me ask you for other ideas. Tell you that's not the right answer. So, which one? What do people carry with them at all times? Phone. What do people do on the phone all day long? Text. That's right. Text is the number one because they can text you back in line. They can text you back while they're on a Zoom call. They can text you back while they're talking to their spouse. They can text you all day long. So make sure you're getting those. I think BombBomb has the most impact, but are people looking at their email all day long? No, they might not look at your BombBomb until 7 o'clock at night, and then they think, well, I'll call them tomorrow, and then they forget about it. Texting they can do right now. So you don't want to, especially if you BombBomb today, and then you text them tomorrow, they're going to text right back. Make sense? So make sure you're using voicemail, letter, snail mail, postcard. Keep at these people, but make sure for sure you do bomb and you do texting. So this is a fantastic article, and Tricia has put the link to this, and I would bookmark that so that if anybody's ever ghosted you, it makes sense to read this for 10 minutes, grab some great information from here, and they even have templates that will do those follow-ups for you, so that all you need to do is 90% of it's written. You just need to modify it a bit for your particular situation, and you've got a email that was written by somebody who has extreme and valuable expertise on getting people to email you back, and they're helping you through those templates. Does that make sense? Super. So make sure you go to the replay and go to the link, this link here, and then bookmark it to your computer. Because once you've spent the time and effort and money to have a relationship with somebody, you want to make sure these follow-up emails or follow-up omni-channel things cost you nothing. All it takes is a little time and elbow grease, and it's well worth the while. So follow up, and follow up in the right way. When will the replay be up? I don't know, Missy. When will the replay be up?
I usually will have it up no later than 2 p.m. It's usually earlier than that, but
super.
A little later today.
Coolio. So guys, is this helpful to give you a very narrow, topic and ideas on how to deal with that? Awesome. Super duper. Well, then you guys have in fact, we'll let you go early today so that you can go check out this mailshake.com and go there. And otherwise, if you forget that or you're not a place you can do that, we'll have it on the replay. You guys have a wonderful rest of the week. And, well, wait, Missy, no, Memorial Day is not next week, is it, guys?
Nope, we've got one more week. Yep, one more week of fall, and then it'll be 2 weeks from now is Memorial.
Okay, 1 more week of summer, 2 more weeks of summer, and then spring, then we have summer. So, guys, we'll talk to you all next Monday. Yeah, today is tax day. Don't forget that. Thanks, Dean. Don't forget, today is tax day. So you guys have a wonderful week. We'll talk to you all next Monday. Thanks, everybody.